the end of 2022, I was burnt out, broke, and questioning everything. I was barely sleeping and I was surviving on coffee and takeaways. My health was suffering, my relationships were strained, and my business was barely afloat. And I knew something had to change. Welcome to the Master Your Business podcast, where we bring you the best in branding, marketing, and customer experience strategies. I'm Deirdre Martin, your host. And if you've been asking yourself how to level up your growing business, your marketing, your customer experience, or how to make more of an impact with your brand, this show is for you. You'll discover actionable tips and insights to help businesses just like yours gain clarity and illuminate the path to success. Train with industry experts, learn sales and marketing strategies, business and mindset hacks, and be inspired by authentic entrepreneurship stories. As your host, I'll share the no-nonsense advice that accelerated my journey from boring bank manager to industry thought leader in marketing and customer experience. Learn how I made the leap into the world of six-figure success, digital courses, keynote speaking, and co-authoring a #1 bestseller in just 1 year. Together with interviews from industry experts, this show ensures you're seen, heard, and hired by your ideal clients. Join our growing community of subscribers and let the Master Your Business podcast empower you to tackle your most significant challenges on your path to business success. Don't miss out. It's your turn to learn from the best and master your dream business. Have you ever felt like you're on an entrepreneurial treadmill? You're hustling like 24/7, but you're still struggling to make ends meet or make as much as you feel like you should be for the hustle that you're putting in. It's like you're pouring your heart and your soul into your business, but you kind of feel like you're running on empty. If so, you're not alone. And honestly, I remember that feeling all too well. Because only at the end of 2022, after barely 2 years in my business, my bank account was bone dry. The only money I had left was the money I'd set aside for my tax bill. I was consumed by fear and self-doubt, questioning if I could even make it as an entrepreneur. And the stress, honestly, it was taking a toll on my health, my relationships, and my overall happiness. I was literally staring down the barrel of a hefty tax bill, thinking, how the fuck am I going to pay that? And like that was literally the only money I had left in my business was what I had earmarked for the taxman, and it wasn't even enough to pay the bill. And here was my hard-working husband giving me that look at home, you know, the one that's a cross between of, honey, can you contribute to the mortgage this month? And honey, maybe it's time you get a real job. Really, he was so supportive, but that's kind of how it felt. And I was at my breaking point. It really was. But instead of giving up, something inside me shifted and I made a decision that turned everything around. I decided to prioritize myself. I was passionate about my clients and my business, but the constant hustle and grind was wearing me the fuck out. Literally, I was on the verge of burnout and I was starting to wonder if this whole entrepreneurial thing was worth it, if I was ever going to make it, if I was good enough, or if I really did need to go and get a fucking job. And honestly, I was browsing for jobs. In this episode today, I'm sharing my personal journey of how self-care became the secret ingredient to my business success. I'm going to share with you the surprising connection, well, surprising to me, between my well-being and my profitability in my business. And I'm going to give you some actionable tips to integrate self-care into your busy entrepreneurial life. So if you're ready to ditch the hustle and start thinking about taking a more sustainable path to success, keep listening. So firstly, the burnout breaking point, right? Everyone has one. Let's talk about it and talk about burnout. It's not just feeling a little tired, it's a state of chronic exhaustion, and it can seriously impact your life, your business, your family, everything. And think about it, it's like when you're running on fumes, your productivity plummets. For me, it might take me 3 hours to get something done that would normally take me 30 minutes. Your decision making gets foggy, or you procrastinate making decisions. That's how it manifests in me. And my creativity, that's why it takes me so long to do the things, because it takes me longer to get creative. So my creativity like nosedives, crashes and burns. And basically, it can feel like trying to drive a car with an empty tank, wondering, oh my God, am I going to make it to the petrol station? You know what I mean? And freaking out that you're not going to get very far. And it's freaking scary. So if you're not sure what burnout looks like, maybe it's, you're more caffeine than human. That's me. I could have 5 coffees a day when I'm feeling burnt out. And maybe it's like your to-do list is longer than an IKEA receipt. And it could feel like it's, more taxing than that receipt too. It feels overwhelming when you look at it. It could for you, and definitely does for me, is I snap at my loved ones, maybe even the dog, my horse. It could be lying in bed and dreaming about frickin' spreadsheets instead of dreaming about white sands and blue seas, right? One of the things for me that I experienced when I was burnt out in December 2022 was insomnia. I wasn't sleeping more than a few hours a night, and I was eating absolute rubbish, muck and dirt. And I was working around the clock. I was literally sitting at my desk all day, but I was hardly getting anything done. And the impact on my body and my business was brutal. I was procrastinating on decisions, I was missing opportunities, and barely keeping my existing clients happy. It was unsustainable. I was losing loads of weight in some parts of my body and gaining it in other parts of my body, and I literally felt sluggish and shit. So one of the things that I've learned over the years, particularly in the latter years, is that you just don't ignore the red flags. Life is too freaking short to feel that way. And if you're feeling any of these symptoms, it's time to hit the pause button in your life and take a serious look at what your self-care routine looks like. And yes, this show is all about mastering your business. And so trust me when I say this, your business will thank you for looking after yourself. So what can you do? Pay attention to your body and your emotions. If you're constantly feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just playing off your game, just step back and reassess. Don't wait till you hit rock bottom to make a change. Self-care is a business strategy. Now, here's where things get interesting. I used to think self-care was luxury, something that I could only do after my business was thriving, and maybe it looked like going off to the spa for the day, but I was so wrong. And self-care isn't just about going to the spa. It's not about bubble baths or massages, although those things are absolutely lovely. It's about prioritizing your well-being so you can show up as your best self in every area of your life. And here's the thing, self-care isn't just good for you, it's good for your business, it's good for your family, it's good in every way imaginable. When you're well rested and you're energized, you're more productive and you're creative, so you get shit done faster, right? When you get it done faster, what does that mean? Well, you can take care of yourself more. And when you take care of yourself more, what happens? You radiate confidence, you attract the right clients, the ones who value you and those same qualities. And when you build a business that supports your well-being, what you're actually doing is you're creating a sustainable model for your long-term success. Seriously. And this has, without a shadow of a doubt, been my experience. So schedule self-care into your calendar like you would any other important appointment. Treat it with the same level of respect and commitment that you would a client. Now, I know you're thinking, self-care, Deirdre, for fuck's sake, who has time for that? And trust me, I honestly used to think the same thing. I thought bubble baths and massages were for people who had their shit together, not for struggling entrepreneurs like me. But here is the mind-blowing truth. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a fucking necessity. It's the fuel that powers your business. And think of it like this, you're the engine of your business. If you're running on empty, your business is going to splutter and stall. It's like trying to get up the hill in neutral. It's just not going to go anywhere. Clients can smell desperation a mile away. And that's actually what happens when you're burning out and your business isn't going so well. You become fucking desperate. You get into that space of lack or scarcity and you're pushing too hard. Whereas when you prioritize your well-being, that confidence comes through. It radiates out of you. And what ends up happening is you attract clients who value that. So basically what I'm saying is hustle culture is a fucking trap. Don't fall into it. Burning the candle at both ends leads to burnout, not breakthroughs. You don't need to sit at your desk all day, every day. So schedule self-care into your calendar just like you would any other important meeting. And don't cancel it on yourself. I'll come and fucking find you if you do. Okay. Something else I want to talk about is creating systems for work-life integration, because that's how you can go from chaos in your day to clarity and so much more. So let's talk about the elusive work-life balance. And I no longer like to call it work-life balance because one of my fabulous clients, she's like, I hate the fucking term work-life balance. I call it work-life integration. So I'll go with the work-life integration because I get it. And I like how she talks about it. And yeah, she's a trooper. So as a busy entrepreneur myself, and a mom of two girls, one teenager, one in her early 20s. I was very young when I started, don't judge. 2 horses and 3 hairy as fuck, huggable as hell, Bernie's Mountain Dogs. I've learned that balance is a freaking unicorn, and my client is 100% right about work-life balance. It's bullshit. It's a mythical creature that doesn't actually exist. What we can achieve is work-life integration. And this is what she says. I completely agree with her. It's about blending the different aspects of our lives in a way that feels sustainable and fulfilling. It's about lapping up the messiness, because life fucking happens. Kids get sick, deadlines get moved, and sometimes you just need to sit and watch fucking Netflix for the day. And that's okay, right? No judgment from me. I like to binge and bed rot every so often on a Sunday when I'm feeling tired, just to make sure. And that's one of my ways of self-care. It's like just being like, okay, just count me out of the equation for today. Today is about me and prioritizing myself. And I might bed rot for the day. Okay, seriously, don't judge. Oh yeah, create flexible systems is a way to go from that chaos to clarity. And what you can do, or what I mean by that, is blocking off time for work and family, but being willing to adjust as needed. And then delegate. Delegate like you're a fucking boss, because you are. And you don't have to do it all yourself. Hire a VA, outsource some of the shit, and free up your time for the things that really matter to you, not just in your business, but in your life as well. Like for me, if I pay a VA for a few hours to do some work and that frees me up to go out and be on my horse, in my mind, that is the best investment I could ever make, because when I'm on my horse, the only thing I think about is, aside from like, don't fall off, Deirdre, don't fall off, Deirdre, is what am I trying to get this 3/4 ton of an animal to do? You know? And so I'm so present when I'm on my horse. And that's worth any amount of money, because when I come away after that, I feel energized. I feel motivated. I feel like I've accomplished something. I feel grateful. I feel so many positive things that there is no amount of money could cover that, right? So here's my hack to go from chaos to clarity in your week. And that is track your time for a week. You might be surprised to see where your energy is really going. And when I read Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, this was eye-opening for me. This was one of the exercises that he encouraged in the book. And this awareness is the first step to creating a schedule that actually might work for you. So I'm going to share a little bit about my journey to 100K and self-care. And I know it all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work? It does. And that's why I'm going to share this story with you. So here's a bit of my own story. At the end of 2022, I was burnt out, broke, and questioning everything. I was working 14-hour days at least. I was barely sleeping, and I was surviving on coffee and takeaways, like rubbish. My health was suffering, my relationships were strained, and my business was barely afloat. And I knew something had to change. So I made a decision. It wasn't necessarily going to be radical, but it kind of became that. And maybe that's too strong a phrase, but my decision was I was going to prioritize my well-being and kind of say, fuck everything else. And what I mean by that is, I started exercising regularly. I started eating healthier. I even decided I'm going to quit drinking for the year. Now, I wasn't drinking a whole lot anyway, maybe a couple of glasses of wine at the weekend with dinner, but I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm giving it all up. And I invested in a coach to help me overcome my fears, my limiting beliefs, and help me just somebody give me a fucking push and tell me, get the fuck on with it, Deirdre, right? That's what I needed. And I didn't have money. I didn't know how I was going to pay for that coach. But I was like, no matter what it takes, I've got to do this because I really believe that I can help people. And guess what? It worked. Not only did my energy and my focus improve, but my business started to thrive. And it didn't take fucking a year. I attracted my ideal clients and raised my prices, and I hit 6 figures in revenue in just a few months. It was a complete turnaround, like seriously. And it all started with self-care. So the reason I wanted to share this episode with you is because I want you to get this takeaway. And that takeaway is you don't have to choose between success and well-being. By prioritizing your self-care, setting some boundaries, creating systems for your work-life integration, you can actually achieve both and make a shit ton of money while you're doing it too. Because isn't that why we're all in business at the end of the day? And when you have money, guess what? You can do nicer things in your life, which is fabulous, right? So here's what I want you to do. This is your challenge. Should you choose to accept it to master your business, identify just one self-care practice that you can incorporate into your daily routine this week, not fucking next week, this week. Decide today. It could be a 10-minute walk, it could be a short meditation, or it could be just simply sitting at your kitchen table with a cup of tea or a coffee in complete silence with no phone, nothing, and just sitting there for 5 minutes. So, challenge accepted? Yes or no? Let me know. You can let me know what you're going to do. Please do. I would love to hear from you. And that's it for today, folks. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Master Your Business podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you're streaming from. And don't forget to share it with other ambitious entrepreneurs who are just like you, ready to fuck the hustle away and embrace a more sustainable path to success. Until next time, keep mastering your business and your life.